Hi, welcome to Boca Voice and Fact or Fiction Friday. I'm here today with Andy Wiggins, who's the founder of Integrated Technologies. Andy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So Andy, tell us a little bit about Integrated Technologies and what made you found it.
Well, ITCS, or Integrated Technology Corporate Solutions, our long legal name, is a IT managed services provider. I founded the company 11 years ago really because as a business owner myself, I was having a hard time finding people that could help me with my IT solutions and sort of help me partner with my business to come up with solutions that would help me grow the business. So I founded the company, and as I say, we're what's called an MSP, or Managed Services Provider. And what that simply means is that we act as the internal IT department for companies of all sizes. We work with companies that are startup all the way to complex publicly traded enterprises. And what our goal is to make IT function as a background like the lights in this room are functioning. You come in the morning, you turn on the lights, you never think about them. Our goal is to make IT something that you never think about. We're a 24/7, 365 company, so we never take vacations, we never go get sick, and we never take holidays. So if we have a client that has an issue at 3 o'clock on a Saturday morning, we will start working on that issue at 3 o'clock on a Saturday morning. What we do is we have a proactive versus reactive approach. The old-fashioned approach was, I have a problem with my computer or my systems or my IT network, I'm going to call a company, they're going to come out, or they're going to work remotely and address the issue, and then they're going to go away. What we do is we proactively monitor all IT systems, again on a 24/7, 365 basis, and then as we detect a problem, we go and we fix the problem. So hopefully when you come in on a Monday morning, you turn on your computer, everything just works.
Now, is that what they consider cloud computing?
Now, cloud computing is a little different. Cloud computing is, instead of having your infrastructure on site in your office, cloud computing is having your infrastructure, quote, in the cloud. So there are three types of clouds. The first type of cloud is called the public cloud. We've all heard of the public cloud because we're familiar with Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, and a myriad of other folks out there with the cloud. There's also something called the private cloud, and then there's a third service called the hybrid cloud. And ultimately, business owners need to become educated on these three different types of services to determine A, if the cloud is the right solution for them in the first place, and if it is, which of these type of clouds is really the right solution for today, as well as to take the business to wherever they want to go tomorrow.
So a business like mine, I have an ad agency, I have multiple people in here working on multiple different types of systems, right? I have people on Apple computers doing video editing, I have account services, working on Microsoft, working on Excel, working on Word, and then I have my accountant working on just how to bill, right? What is the right solution for them?
You know what, that would depend on a few things. One is that if you have your own infrastructure in this office, meaning you have your servers and all your network equipment in this office, and you don't want to share your information with anybody else, meaning that in the public cloud, you are sharing your applications and data with hundreds and if not thousands of other people on the same set of infrastructure. So the public cloud is great for folks that don't have information that needs to be publicly concealed. So healthcare information, financial information, those type of folks really don't need the public cloud because you don't want to have your applications and data shared on the same infrastructure, physical infrastructure, with many, 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 many other people. So in your case, you're not in the healthcare business and you're not in the financial information business, but you might have some information that you don't want anybody else to see. So possibly the private cloud might be good for you, or possibly the public cloud. It would really depend on if you have your own infrastructure here, and if you're also looking to scale up, scale down, what you're looking to do with that infrastructure, but also how you want to have your information stored.
My concern is always speed, right? How quickly can my people work and how fast can they work? Does it matter on the cloud how quickly they can work or not work?
You know what, the cloud is important with the cloud that you have a very fast, reliable internet connection. Because once the infrastructure is in the cloud, again, whether private, public, hybrid, nothing is on site. So if that internet connection is A, slow, or B, goes down, you are 100% done. Nothing will work. So internet becomes very, very important. And having actually a secondary internet connection along with a primary connection is really a must-have. Because that way, if the primary internet connection goes down, you have the secondary internet connection that you can bring right on up and continue to function. Having, again, an internet connection with what's called a service level agreement is also important. This way, these companies have skin in the game, so to speak, and they will sit there and make sure that you are up 99.999% of the time, which is very important. When you think of a 365-day year and you look at 99.999% of the time, that means that they can be down for something like 18 hours a year. Sure. Without that guarantee, you could, and you're down, it doesn't, the company will, you can call the company up and they'll say, well, we'll get back to you on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It'll be 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, and then you're down.
So if you don't mind, walk me through how you decide, how do you help your clients decide which one they choose? Do you go through a process with them? Do you sit down with them? How do you go through that process?
What we do is we do sit down with them and really talk about what their needs are today, and we educate them on the 3 different types of clouds. So once they're educated on the 3 different types of clouds, they can then look and decide, do they even want to go to the cloud? Because the cloud is not for everybody. Again, we've all heard of it, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right solution for everybody. So then what we do is we sit there and talk about what infrastructure they have in place or lack of infrastructure they have in place, and then the advantages and disadvantages of each of these solutions. So if they're a company that's on a high growth trajectory, well, maybe the public cloud is the right solution for them. That way they don't have to sit there and go out and buy a server and another server and a this and a that and a big storage unit and all this equipment that then has to be maintained locally. Whereas all they have to do in the public cloud is sort of go to a dashboard and turn the needle, so to speak, and then they get all this great infrastructure.
Sure.
In the private cloud, it may be great, again, as I say, for a company that has information that they don't want to have on any other, shared with anybody else. So the private cloud is great for those companies that may not be on a super high growth trajectory, but have information they don't want shared, and but want the benefits of the cloud. So again, the redundancy and the availability that comes with the cloud. And then the hybrid cloud solution is where you put some things locally, some things in the cloud. So for example, the company that does have highly sensitive information, maybe it's okay to have their email system in the cloud or certain applications in the cloud, but they want to have certain data locally, not possibly shared with anybody else. So that's sort of what we help them do. And then we guide them along. We perform the migration if they end up going to the cloud. So that's taking them from their local presence to the cloud, and then help them, make sure that everything works and run things in the cloud for them.
So Andy, tell us how your company saves a traditional company like mine money on IT services.
So what we found is we save companies up to 70% off the cost of having traditional IT. So most companies find that they don't necessarily need to have an individual on site 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, not including vacation time. That person is really not that busy. So when they engage us, we are a fraction of the cost of having a full-time employee. And as I said earlier, we do not take holidays, vacations, or get sick, and we work 24/7. So the difference is that if somebody is sitting there and on vacation and you have a problem, well, how are you going to get that thing fixed? Then you're going to have to call in an external company. The other thing that we offer is that we are up to date technically, whereas I have found in my experience that having an on-site IT person, he is great at knowing the systems today, but there's a lot of other things technologically out there than the systems that individual is working on. And we as a company do continuing education every single week. So we are up to date on the latest in software offerings, the latest in hardware offerings, the latest new technologies coming out. And then what we can do is help our customers with those technologies and applying them to their business to see if they work for their business. And usually these new technologies end up saving people money. That's the purpose of them. They're not coming out to sit there and make their expenses go up. It's usually to make the expenses go down and increase efficiencies in the business. And that's really the difference between us and having an IT presence where you have a full-time person on site.
That's great. So what else would you like our folks to know about the services that you provide?
So we're currently offering our customers a solution that offers them the best of the public cloud with the security privacies of the private cloud. So what we've done is we've gone out and purchased our own state-of-the-art infrastructure. We've housed it in a Tier 5 data center here in Boca Raton. And for those companies that don't have their own infrastructure or don't want to invest in their own infrastructure, they can come and rent our infrastructure on a monthly basis. And if they're scaling up or scaling down, as I talked about earlier, we can sit there and help them scale up or scale down immediately. But then we're also offering them the security of the private cloud. Their information and applications are not going to be shared with nefarious individuals. They are not going to be shared with many hundreds or thousands of other individuals. And we can do this at a fraction of the price of the public cloud and even a fraction of the price of the private cloud. So it really is kind of a win-win-win scenario for all three parties involved.
Do you mind if I ask what a Tier 5 data center is?
Okay, a Tier 5 data center is one that is basically, think of it as almost a nuclear bunker. Here in Florida, as you know, we have hurricanes, and so these facilities are built to withstand Category 5 storms, up to 200-mile-an-hour winds, and they are basically fortified with big, thick cement walls. They are also completely redundant, so they have multiple sources of power generation, as well as multiple internet carriers coming in. So, for example, during the hurricane we had last year, where we keep our own infrastructure, had not 1 second of downtime before, during, or after the storm.
Well, that's great to know for anybody that if they're gonna do this type of storage, we want to make sure that during a hurricane or any kind of a disaster, we want to make sure that all of our data is safe, but also we can access it during any time.
Yep, that's how it works.
Well, that's great. Well, Andy, thank you so much for joining us, and we appreciate it. And if anybody's interested in reaching out to Andy or ITS Solutions, we want to make sure that you'll have all of the information and links to be able to get to him and his company. Andy, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again. Thank you for joining us on Fact or Fiction Friday. We look forward to seeing you next week. Don't forget to follow us online and on social media.